From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production, the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by my man, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and none other than the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson, is in the building today. And you guys already know what time it is. This is the NFL Bet Exchange, and this is our part 2 of the NFL preview. You know, the first time we did this, and I know I'll probably say this every week when we do this portion, but the first time me and Jeff did this about 2019 when we were first starting out this show, 2019, 2020, about that time when we were first starting out the NFL Bet Exchange and all that stuff. Well, 2020. And when we were doing the NFL Bet Exchange, me and Jeff actually did a very long preview show. And the preview show went about 3.5 hours. And I could never forget it was live as well, too. So a lot of people was like, damn, y'all still talking? So, you know, it was a fun day. It was a lot of stuff, but the only bad part about that was when we sent it to the editor, he just was like, man, dude, this is going to take me a while. And it literally took him about 2 or 3 days to finish it up. And usually the guy takes about 2 hours to finish up our shows, but that was a long session of things right there. It got so long, I think he even blanked on some of the stuff, man, to be honest with you, dude. So it happens. But, Jeff, how are you today?
I'm doing okay. As I called and put you on speakerphone as I was driving to the office where I needed Noah's Ark again, 2 inches of rain, thunder, lightning, tornado warnings. It just never ends. Mother Nature and the internet still undefeated. We're up, we're running. I muscled through a 1:00 show to get to here. Hopefully the internet stays up. Hopefully we can get through this. AFC North, NFC North. You already know my thoughts on the AFC North, and the NFC North will be interesting for sure. But I can't wait, Pops. Blessed and honored to be a part.
Perfect. Man, you guys already know that pretty much we are talking AFC, NFC North today. And pretty much I'm trying to make sure I'm super focused, but I got 75 things happening at once. It's funny. Everybody wants to be busy with me on Friday. Monday through Thursday, you know, I'm sitting up in here. Days are just going the way that they go. But Friday, it's always somebody deadline day. But let's go ahead and jump into it. First team that we're going to talk about is a team that actually kind of took over the headlines during the offseason because they had a guy that was very adamant about getting his money, and he wound up getting his money. And he kind of set a precedent on how contracts were going to be for quarterbacks moving forward. And what he did was he, at one point, was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, you know, after Jalen Hurts got his money. And then all of a sudden, all it did was just set up the Chargers to make sure that they had their offer together. And it's funny. They're the only team that had a guy not even mention the money. That's the Chargers. But let's go ahead and jump into it because we're going to talk about this team right here that is in a make or break season, in my opinion, because if they don't get it right now, they blowing this bad boy up. And that's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. In 2022, the team went 10-7. They made the playoffs again, lost to the rival Bengals in a pretty close competitive game. But once again, they didn't have their starting quarterback, the man himself, Mr. Lamar Jackson. And now Lamar is back. He's added OBJ. He got Zay Flowers, who might be the fantasy wide receiver hot pick for the fantasy owners. Also, you still got Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends in football. And then you look over on the side. You still have that side, one of the best defenses over the last 25 some odd years in the NFL. And it seems like it just don't stop. And that's still their calling card is their defense. You look at the Ravens and you say to yourself, it's a Super Bowl or bust season. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Well, if I asked you this, if we took this Baltimore Ravens team and put them in the NFC, other than Philadelphia, San Francisco, I'd put them ahead of Dallas. My point is, they're in not only the AFC, but in my eyes, the most competitive division, hands down, in the NFL. You hit all the bullet points. Lamar is healthy. Lamar is paid. They add OBJ. They add Zay Flowers. Their backfield started to get me a little nervous. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Bus Edwards, uh, Mark Andrews at tight end, Isaiah Likely, even Kohler at tight end. Their defense, very, very competitive. They've won 24 straight preseason games. Make a break year. Yeah, the natives are getting restless. In one of my shows, I think it was Sports Map Radio this week, I went back to 2013, Pops. They asked me for an early season Super Bowl preview, and I went to 2013. The night the lights went out, and the Ravens and 49ers, I'm very, very, very high on the Ravens. Um, I think they will do very, very well, as well as another team that we'll talk about uh, in a few minutes, but there's nothing I can say bad other than I'm a little nervous right now of the backfield. They go as far as obviously Lamar Jackson takes them. Their defense, the best kicker in the game and probably the best ever with Mr. Justin Tucker. So I think they go past that 10-7. I think they're definitely, I know there's Joe Burrow. I get all that, but I think the Ravens are the team to beat in this division.
You know what? I'm gonna have to totally agree with that. And you see that the Ravens are a very good number here, plus 180 on the championship odds, and then their over under for wins is 10 this year, and that's very doable, very foreseeable, very, very good looking. And when you see a team as good as them with a over under a 10, they usually overachieve in that situation. But the Ravens still, to me, have a ton of pressure on them because now Lamar Jackson is going to have a smaller microscope on him, meaning like a bigger, more attention, and it's going to be a smaller amount of patience with Lamar now. You know, every mistake is going to be ridiculed. Every loss is going to be ridiculed. Can he handle that pressure? Because I felt like he was starting to kind of submit to the pressure in these past few years, to be honest with you. And I think that a lot of us figured out that if you can take away certain elements of his game, then that offense becomes really, really stagnant. And that's one thing that they can't be. So hopefully they can go ahead and open up things a little bit better this year with that offense because I feel like sometimes they turn into one trick ponies in Baltimore, where we're doing something that's just so predictable. And when they get into that type of trouble, that doesn't bode well for this team. And that's why I said that when you look at them, they have the looks of a Super Bowl team, but at the same time, you say to yourself, they're still a little far off from that hope and dream as well, too, because I just don't feel like their running game is strong enough this year. I know they're going to have Lamar running and everything like that. They got J.K. Dobbins, but I feel like with them, in reality, you have a team that truly is kind of going through the motions of a transition period of how their team is going to look. Now it's not going to be so much about running. You know, they're even talking about turning one of their fullback into an offensive lineman now, and pretty much that's what I'm looking at right now and seeing that the Ravens are trying to become something that may not be conducive of them being an elite team this year. I don't want to see them be a pass first team. I would much rather see them still be a run first team. But I felt like they didn't invest enough in the run game in the offseason because J.K. Dobbins, I love the guy, awesome player, had one of the greatest careers you'll ever see at Ohio State. But he's a very injury prone player. And we all know that. It was even an issue when he was in college. So if you don't have him going and then you have this running back by committee situation, it could prove to be something that can hold your team back, in my opinion.
You know, the difference on this year compared to other years with Baltimore is when you think about the addition of OBJ, you think of the addition of Zay Flowers. We know what Mark Andrews can do and stretch in the field. We haven't even talked about Bateman or Duvernay. And now, can Bateman stay healthy? Can Duvernay? So they're going to open up so many lanes. OBJ crossing the middle of the field. Zay being that water bug. Andrews going straight down the seam. Duvernay or Bateman going to the mailbox. So when Lamar looks past first, and then sees these wide open lanes, uh, uh, he's going to be hell on wheels here. And if they win the turnover battle, I know I always say this, but if they win the turnover battle, and listen, think about they only have to get 2 or 3 first downs, and Tucker's already in potential field goal range. So again, you win games and divisions and titles by scoring touchdowns in the red zone, but it's an automatic 3 at least as soon as they get to the 40. That's a 57 yarder for the most guys. It's let's go for the first down or even take the penalty and punt. For the Ravens, it's just wheel out Tucker and then let's get the 3 and kick off.
Yep. And see, they're trying to get out that mentality right now because they feel like that's lost them games over the years as well, too. So there's just a lot of things that, the Ravens are going to try to do different because they opened it up. They made sure they signed OBJ. They drafted Zay Flowers in the first round so they can have these receivers for Lamar. And so Lamar can actually sit there and pass the ball now and not just be back there, just ad libbing, but that's not his style. You can't take that away from him. At the end of the day, he's going to be better with these two ad libbing. That's the way that you're going to win games with them. But we will see. We will see. I just feel like the Ravens, they paid him so much money that the time for patience is wearing thin, and they have all right to, because you cried for your money. You said that you're worth it. You said that you're going to be the guy. Now you got to be the guy. And you can't, you don't, my point is he has no more excuses. That's just really what it is. And you have no more excuses. You don't have it to where you don't have receivers. You don't have it to where you don't have certain playmakers there for you. Everything is there for you to succeed. If you can't succeed with this situation, then they might need to change positions.